Hey, blast off, I can talk my ass off. Hey, smoke you what you seen and I'll tell you what I saw. Hollywood, what you think and I'll tell you what I thought. And we can talk about it all when we heard.
What's up, y'all? What it do? We is back in this thing.
We made it.
Smoke up.
What up?
What number is the vote?
46.
Did you get that right?
I got it right. See.
All right, say
Correcto.
Say it in English.
46.
Y'all, this is episode 46 of the Trash Talk Podcast. Yeah, whatever he's doing. Welcome everybody back. Before we get started, I want everybody out there to please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, hit that like, comment, share, hit that bell, and do all that good stuff.
If you like what we're doing here and you want us to stay in business and keep making these entertaining videos for you, please consider subscribing because we really need it, and turn the bell on so you know exactly when we drop one of these mugs, and you will be able to see our pretty faces every time right away. And for God's sake, leave a comment.
I love when Smokey says one of these mugs.
Mug.
All right, y'all. Just to give y'all a synopsis of what we're going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There is a correlation between three historical people that a lot of people may not have known.
Who that?
There is a connection between Martin Luther King Jr.,
Uh-huh.
Jesus,
Uh-huh.
and John F. Kennedy.
Ah. So right away, I could think of a few correlations and similarities right offhand.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll save it for the trash talk.
All right, cool. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into these segments. Smokey, let's do some OMG and some
WTF.
Booyah! I was waiting on the booyah.
Booyah!
Y'all, let me get into what's going on into this great state of Georgia.
Georgia.
Hey. All right, the caption of this video, guys, it says, shocking video shows 3 young girls breaking into a Gwinnett home. All right, let's get into this. A Gwinnett County family says they were shocked to see surveillance video showing young girls breaking into their home. The burglary happened Monday on Burning Bush Drive.
Was it the acacia bush?
And did Moses live in this house?
Oh, Moses had to be there. He's the only one who can communicate with those things.
Exactly. Video shows the girls trying to open the front door before going around back through a window. The homeowners told Channel 2 Action News the girls grabbed just about everything they could find, including makeup, pricey electronics, and what else do you think?
Dog food.
Underwear. They also said drawers were open and beds were overturned.
Them drawers were open and they were trying them off.
Marissa Campos, who lives in the home, said 2 of the girls looked 13 years of age and the youngest looked about 10.
Wow.
I quote, "What could you possibly be going through at that age that you feel the need to break into somebody's home?" Campos said. What do you think about this story, Smoked Out?
Well, I mean, if you're thinking about a burglary, it would make sense that someone goes through the electronics. They get electronics because you can trade those for money.
The iPhones, the TVs,
yeah.
computers.
Young girls are going to go for makeup. That makes sense, right?
That makes sense.
Why are you going for draws?
That's a good one. I don't care how down or if we playing a game of drug or mental illness.
Are these some Gucci draws?
Nah, I might take a pair of Gucci drawers. I might take a pair of Versace drawers.
Man, how much they worth on eBay though? They used though, right?
Yeah, and are they clean?
I would hope so, man. I hope they didn't go through the laundry hamper or something.
Ah, that's no good. But look at it from our perspective. These were 3 young girls.
They are apparently really young.
Let's let's say there were 3 young men like me and you, like when we were younger. What would we take would be the equivalent of underwear? I mean, sock. Nah, I wouldn't take no socks. I might take some clothes though. Like you see a nice outfit, you wouldn't take?
Maybe. I mean, I'm just hypothetically speaking. If I were to do this, because I hate thieves.
Yes, 100%.
But Yeah, I guess if it was just a really cool shirt that you saw and you're like, oh, I gotta have that.
Remember the days when jerseys, when everybody
Oh yeah. Now that's worth some money right
yeah,
there. Now if they found some Gucci draws, that might be the equivalent of like a Michael Vick jersey or
right.
something.
Or what if you found like a McDonald's Michael Jordan jersey or something?
Oh
No,
yeah.
that's something you want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about them being so young though? 13 and 10.
There's some corrupt kids, man.
Or were they just doing it to be mischievous?
Well, obviously. I mean, but I don't know. Are you really thinking at 10 years old? I mean, she's obviously gotten with the older kids, though.
That influenced her?
Yeah. So that could just be peer pressure right there. But, 13, 14, you hanging out with the wrong crowd, you could see yourself getting into something like that,
You know what I've noticed, man? Hanging out with, like, the younger people in my family, like the kids around my family.
Uh-huh.
What I've noticed is, like, okay, let's take this 10-year-old girl here.
Yeah.
When I was 10, I was worried about Batman,
Yeah.
cereal. These kids are actually... nowadays a 10-year-old knows, oh, well, look what Britney Spears posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just like
Social media, man.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Instagram is social media.
Yeah, you're right. But like when I was 10, I didn't know Donald. Like, let's
Man,
say
at 10, I was into Braves baseball.
right.
The Falcons or
Was you into politics?
wrestling.
Were you into? Me too. Were you into politics though?
No, not at 10. I didn't give a damn.
All right, so this kind of deviates from the topic. But do you think children of this era are smarter than children of our era?
Yeah, I think so. Just knowledge base. I'm not necessarily saying IQ wise, because it's probably about equivalent. I mean,
You think?
yeah, but knowledge wise, yeah, just the abundance of knowledge that's available to them. I mean, we couldn't open up our phone and get everything ever known to man right there in our palms.
That's true.
We'd have to look through an encyclopedia or a dictionary if we wanted to learn something. But we were just watching whatever the Superstation had to offer.
TBS Channel 17 in this thing.
We had Three's Company and WCW Nitro.
And
Yeah.
reruns of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Exactly. Saved by the Bell.
So let me ask you. Let's say you come home, and no, not even say you come home. Let's say it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up, you hear a rumbling. You walk downstairs. There's 3 young girls in your house, stealing. What are you doing? I had to put that.
Y'all put that down and get out of here. This is ridiculous. It's 3 young girls. What are you gonna do? Go beat them up? You can't do that. So, I tell them like, you don't get out of here. I'm calling the police on y'all little badasses.
Your first instinct would be not to call the cops, right?
Yeah, not for
that young.
Yeah, that young of little girls. Them. I might even have a talk with them. Nowadays you got to watch what you're doing.
Be careful what you're saying.
But I'd have to film the whole thing just to show that it was a friendly chat.
Right. This is what I would do. Obviously y'all ain't gonna beat me up. Obviously.
Exactly.
So this is what I'd do. I'd say, hey, look, y'all are young. Y'all leave. I'm gonna call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your parents' phone number, your parents' phone number, your parents' phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Stay here. I'm gonna call your parents and I'm gonna say, hey, your daughter is over here. Hey, your daughter is over here, and hopefully. I'm hoping that their parents are decent enough to be like, she's over there, and come over there.
Yeah, and they're gonna do the discipline and like, I'm sorry, and hopefully they'll apologize for what their kid just did.
Right.
But you got some bad people in this world that'll be like,
my daughter didn't do that.
Yeah.
She don't like it. She don't like that makeup.
I think you probably locked them in your house.
You child
They
predator?
were just walking down the street, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying you got to film the whole thing.
Exactly.
Because words get misconstrued these days. But I would try to, I know from being a teenager, as I was a teenager.
We did stupid stuff.
Yeah, and when an adult tries to talk to you and tries to set you straight, it don't work.
No.
If you're already on that path, you're going to continue down that path until you eventually hit rock bottom somewhere and feel like you need to change.
Right.
Which happens to adults.
It's crazy because when you think, how many times have you been told as a child, you'll understand me later in life? Or like,
yeah. And when you're a kid, you don't believe
get that.
Yeah, you don't care.
But now you're like, ah.
Yeah.
All right, so before we wrap up WTF and get onto the before we wrap up OMG and get on to the WTF,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Wow, that's something I'd have to think about. Nothing like specifically instantly pops into my head, but sure I've gotten a lot of it.
Can you give me one?
Not right offhand. What do you got? I mean, obviously you got something in mind, right?
Well, the best advice I think I've ever received would be two things: be a leader, not a follower,
Yeah.
and save your money.
Yeah. I got those too, yeah. Oh, my grandma would always say, especially when I was old enough to start making my own money, she would always say, don't ever leave the house without money in your pocket. I mean, nowadays money is more accessible than back then, but she was saying you always had to have cash on you because you get down the road somewhere and your car break down. What are
Right.
you going to do? You need to have money on hand at all times.
Another piece of good advice I've been told is you never spend more than what you make.
Yeah, of course. That's why I don't go into debt at all myself.
Yeah.
I try to avoid it at all costs.
Well, how about this? What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
You got one of those too, huh?
Well, I'm wondering. Come on, give me one. I want you. You ain't got nothing. Worst piece of
I'm
advice.
sure if I sit and think about it for a minute, I could come up with something.
Worst piece of advice I've ever received.
I mean, it'd probably be something over, don't leave that job, or maybe, I mean, I had people telling me, like, oh, yeah, you could go out and chase your music career, but,
Don't.
yeah, but what if it fails? Then you don't even have a house to live in,
Yeah.
But, so there was times where I didn't take that step forward when I probably should have. Oh, man, I guess it goes back to the meeting with the record people or Shannon
What was it?
Hutchins.
Hunky Flunk Records.
Honky Flunk? What was that?
Nah, what was the record company?
Oh, Average Joe's?
Average Joe's.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, man, he was trying to convince me, because it was just me in the meeting with him, to start doing the whole country rap thing, because he's like, it's blowing up. Yeah. He's like, it's blowing up. And I'm like, nobody gonna listen to that garbage.
Meanwhile, 10 years later, I got the horses in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. Now people making millions.
For real. Well, that wraps up my OMG. I don't want to stick on that too long.
Yeah.
What you got over there for old WTF? What is going on in the bottom?
The very bottom state of Florida.
You know what? Is Florida the most no,
Farce.
it's not.
We'd have to look at a map, but
Hawaii would be.
yeah, I guess that is lower.
Maybe even Texas.
Maybe the southern tip of Texas. I don't think it sticks down. No, I think
Nah,
Florida
you're
goes down
right.
farther if you go to Miami or whatever.
But Hawaii.
Yeah, probably Hawaii.
Yeah. What you got going on, Smoke?
All right, this comes from Fox 35.
Oh Lord, it's a Fox station.
It is.
Bring that up after you get done with your WTF, because I want to ask you a question.
All right. Florida man claims wind blew a bag of cocaine into his car.
Shut up. Are you serious?
That's all we need.
I almost just choked on my beer. Yeah. Are you for real?
For real. This is a serious headline right here.
Go ahead, because I want to know how big this bag was.
Fort Pierce, Florida. A Florida man reportedly tried to blame a windy day for a bag of cocaine authorities found inside of his car. According to the arrest affidavit, Joseph Zach. Wow, he's got the names mixed up there. His first name is Joseph. His last name is Zach. Of
Joseph Zach.
Port St. Lucie.
John David.
Pulled over last month after not stopping at a stop sign at Canal Terrace and North 23rd Street. When the officer approached his car, the agency said that Zach, I don't get that. But when the officer approached his car, the agency said that Zach was trying to hide an open can of Budweiser and was spotted making furtive.
Let me see.
Hold on. Dude, I'm a language arts guy.
Let me see.
I'm sure this is a common word that I've just never used.
First of all, when they said agency, that made sense to you, right?
Well, if the agency that is actually doing the arrest affidavit, I guess.
They put it out. That's the agency.
Yeah.
Now, where's this F word?
I was expecting the officer to say something though.
Well, the officer reports to the agency.
Yeah.
Damn, where's that F word at? Found this car. Trying to open a bow.
I'm a language arts guy, and I've never used that word. Furtive?
Furtive?
Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody screaming at the screen. You idiots!
It's Furtive. Furtive.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I'm sure there's somebody like, you idiots, I use that all the time. Furtive movements. Leaning over towards the center console as attempting to discard an item in the passenger window. Authorities say a search of the vehicle revealed a crack pipe in the center console and a clear baggie with whitish residue which tested positive for crack cocaine.
Dang.
Zach reportedly told the officer the baggie did not belong to him and that the wind must have placed it there.
Okay, 3 things wrong here. Did the wind also blow the crack pipe in there?
Apparently it did.
First, the wind, that's 2 things. But the third thing is, what are you concealing? I mean, you're concealing something, so obviously
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, he didn't want him to see the Budweiser because he thought that would lead to a search of the vehicle. Sense. Which it was obviously still visible.
Right.
Zach was arrested and charged with possession and paraphernalia. He was taken to the St. Lucie County Jail without incident. So he didn't fight, but...
well, he wouldn't have won that.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Zach.
Yeah, Zach.
The wind didn't blow a baggie of cocaine into your vehicle.
But what if it did?
If it did, you are the most unfortunate man to be in Florida at this moment.
We cannot X
I
this
mean,
out.
it is possible.
It is extreme. Maybe an oncoming car was coming and they just threw it in there, you know?
Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe he was driving down the street, through the crack pipe, and the baggie, and the beer into his window.
And the beer landed perfectly in the cup holder. It is
and he's looking like, oh my God. He's like, what am I going to do with it? What if I get pulled over and then, pew!
God dang it. Trying to...
Series of unfortunate events.
For real. Zach, I hope you get a lawyer. If you're telling the truth, you probably are telling the truth.
Hey, there's some lawyers out there that can get you off, homie.
Just for the record, O.J. Simpson was free.
Yes.
And Ben Roethlisberger got off with everything. So it is possible to get off, my friend.
It's possible. So, lawyer up. I mean, if you're smoking crack, I don't know how much money you got to spend on it because the DA ain't going to help you out there.
That's very true. Anything else you got out there for the state of Florida, Smoke Dizzle?
That's it. That's it, Florida.
No, Lord. Now, I think we need to get into a segment that we like to call Explain This. Smokey.
I want to explain something today.
I'm going to send you a picture. And if you could do me a favor.
Yeah?
Explain.
Oh, I'm going to explain it all.
All right. Well, you do your best.
Let's see here.
Have you received it?
Yes, I have.
Explain that picture. What do you see there?
All right. I'm going to... I don't got an explanation for this. Hold on. Is it upside down? It is upside down. Why'd they do it upside down? All right. So it's obviously above the clouds and in the outer atmosphere of this object that is obviously in orbit or falling, whatever it's doing, which orbit coincidentally is a falling motion just around the Earth and eventually falling. Jesus, I would like to get a close-up on that, but it's kind of pixelated the closer you get.
Guys, if you're watching this, I want you to take a good look at this picture.
Yeah. I mean, my first guess would just be space junk. That is a piece off of a satellite that happened to be still in orbit.
All right, let me give you the official story. Okay, this is an official picture from NASA.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this picture was taken in 1998 by NASA, and they said it was basically a piece of space debris that has been around for 13,000 years.
Holy crap.
13,000 years.
Jesus.
But now the crazy thing is this thing has its own orbit around Earth. You can go outside with a telescope and you can see this some nights.
So this thing is huge, huh?
And the name of this thing is called the Black Knight Satellite. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Wow, you've never heard of the Black Knight Satellite?
No.
All right, well, Here's the story behind the Black
This
Knight.
definitely comes from NASA. It's not
No, this is from
internet
NASA.
folklore.
No, this is NASA.
Okay.
The Black Knight satellite is a spacecraft near polar orbit of the Earth that could be of extra that is could of that could be extraterrestrial origin.
Do you have dyslexia also?
You're giving it to me. And that NASA is engaged in a cover-up regarding its existence and origin.
Orgy?
Origin. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm sorry. The conspiracy. Okay, so it could be a conspiracy. The conspiracy theory combines several unrelated stories into one narrative. A photo taken during the STS-88 NASA mission claimed by some to show the Black Knight satellite is cataloged by NASA as a photo of space debris, and space journalist James Oberg considers it a probable debris of thermal blanket confirmed as lost during the mission. Quick history of it: according to some ufologists, the Black Knight is an artificial satellite of extraterrestrial origin, which has orbited Earth for approximately 13,000 years. The satellite story is most likely a conflation of several disconnected stories about various objects and their interpretations, all of them well documented independently and none using the term Black Knight upon their first publication. So, Black Knight is a jumble of completely something totally different. But yeah, apparently this thing. Oh well, 1954, UFO researcher Donald Kehoe told newspapers that the United States Air Force has reported that 2 satellites orbiting Earth had been detected. At that time, no country had the technology to launch a satellite. Skeptics have noted that Kehoe had been promoting a UFO book at the time, and the news stories were likely written tongue-in-cheek and not intended to be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So, apparently you can see this with your own telescope. Apparently it orbits Earth, and that NASA has said it is up there.
Mm-hmm.
But some people are saying that it's an extraterrestrial spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
NASA saying it's space junk.
Yeah.
But it's been there for 13,000 years.
How do we confirm that it's been there for 13,000 years?
How do we know that the Earth is as old as...
No, I'm just saying, who came up with that? How do we... Who came up with that figure?
I'd have to do some more research, but...
Yeah.
But
It's just speculation.
Right, but going off of what you said, how do we know the Earth is 13 billion years old? How do we know
Yeah,
that?
exactly. It's all just educated guessing.
Carbon dating?
Well, I mean, if that were the case, somebody would have had to get close enough to get a piece of it to bring it back to carbon date it. That's why it's hard to just go immediately and say, wow, I believe that it's 1,300 years old. Or what'd you say, 13,000? Yeah. Whew, yeah, that's a leap, man.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
If you had to say, what would you say about the Black Knight? If you had to put money on it, is it an extraterrestrial spacecraft or?
I'd say it's just, if I had to put money on it, I would say it's space junk because of that word that you don't like.
Yeah, don't do it. No, I want you to do it. Go ahead.
Because of Occam's razor.
Okay. That's 2 words.
Well,
but go
that
ahead.
phrase you don't like.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, if I had to put money on it, but I would love to believe that it actually is some remnants of a ancient spacecraft from a civilization long before.
You would love to believe that?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's cool to think that there have been other civilizations. I mean, even if it's not from a different world, that there was a civilization that created a spacecraft long before the Earth was set back to the Stone Age at some point.
That could launch stuff into space.
Yes, exactly.
That's cool to think?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I mean, it's cool to, you know, just ponder on what if there was a whole civilization before a great disaster. You know, and this civilization like Atlantis or Lemuria had the capabilities of, you know, amazing technology. And
Atlantis or what?
Lemuria.
What's that?
It was an island like Atlantis. Yeah. It's supposedly from an ancient civilization before the Great Flood, you know.
Haven't they proven Atlantis was a real thing, though?
I don't think they've proven it. I think multiple people have come out with speculations of what this area of land that we found under the sea was Atlantis, but I don't think there's ever been some official government
Hey, this is
explanation.
Atlantis.
Yes, because they don't do things like that.
All right, so before we get off of this, explain this topic or segment, you have to put money on it. Atlantis, real place or not? Because it was one of the old seven wonders of the world.
If I had to put money on it, I would say, yeah, I would lean toward yes, it was a real place, just because of so many stories that came out, and these stories have been around long before internet culture. And
Oh, I'm finna mess you up here.
why?
Go ahead, I'm just finna mess you up here, boy.
Why?
Go, keep going. What are you about to
No,
say?
I'm trying to. That's just it. I would say yes, it probably existed, just because the stories were probably handed down from somewhere. I mean, it could all be made up, of course, but
If you had to put money on it.
I mean, it's just like Jesus. Was Jesus a real man? And I would tend to believe that yes, he was a real man that walked the earth, just because of the stories that have been handed down throughout time.
So you would put money on it that Atlantis...
I don't know that I'd put money on it, because I don't know that I could put money on it either way. I'd be losing money, 50-50 chance. Yeah.
Well, no, let's say they said, hey, we have the definitive proof that this is the correct answer. If you get this right, we will double your money. $50,000, you put it up. Atlantis, real or not?
I'd lean toward real.
Okay. Now, we're coming at you at the same day. Hey, we have definitive proof that Noah built an ark and put 2 of every animal on there.
No.
According to what you said, there's so many stories.
Yes, but one is probable and one is improbable. It is improbable that you put millions of species of animal on one boat.
A guy broke that down to me. A guy broke that down and said it wasn't. It was
Yeah, I mean, you could say that he only had this handful of animals.
that created other animals.
And that's possible. That's possible, yes. But for the Christians to believe that, they would also have to believe in evolution, which they don't.
They don't?
No.
Oh, you're right. All right, well,
So that's why that's kind of contradictory, that either he put millions of animals on a boat.
That's a big old... You had 2 mosquitoes, you had 2 ladybugs, you
Yes.
had 2 everything.
Or evolution exists. Now, I could believe there may have been someone who, either through intuition or in advanced civilizations, that knew through weather prediction that there was a flood coming to the area. And this guy wanted to preserve this entire ecosystem somehow. And he brought animals onto a boat and rode out a flood. I mean, it's kind of improbable, but it's still possible.
No, it's not. Well, it could be, but and the same guy also parted 2 seas.
No, that was
Moses.
Yeah, that was Moses.
Why does everybody
Leading the
get
Israelites.
them 2 confused?
I don't know.
No. We're getting off the topic.
Okay, but do you believe it's real or not?
Atlantis?
No.
The Black Knight satellite?
Yes. What do you think it is?
You already know me and anything extraterrestrial.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Do I need to go any further?
No, we don't.
All right. Guys, check out the previous episodes if you need to understand where I'm coming from. But that wraps up this segment of Explain This. Now, Smoke Dog.
What up?
Let's get into some good old-fashioned trash talk. Booyah!
Bezow, boo boo, skippy bop bop.
That was so funny when you did that story, man.
Bezow is an amazing character, man.
Yeah, my name's Behringer. Yeah, I'm Larry Cohen. Yeah, my name is...
Yeah.
How you been, man? What's up, bro?
Oh, I'm good. Living life. You know what I'm saying?
Life's good.
It is.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was great. How was yours?
Man, I ate so much food, dude.
Dude, that's awesome. Man, there is nothing better than a giant Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, especially being with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Talking crap.
Ate a lot of turkey and didn't get tired, by the way.
Yeah, check out the previous episode if you guys... He's got a whole theory on tryptophan, which, I don't know, it makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you feel about cranberry sauce?
I like cranberry sauce. I couldn't eat a bunch of it.
Out the can or fresh?
The can. I like the can.
I don't care. I just like the
I
food.
haven't ate them much of
What?
fresh cranberry sauce.
Bro, my mom makes some I'm talking about real cranberries. Ooh.
But there's something about it just reminds you of childhood when you could take the little
And it
and then you cut it in slices.
I mean,
But it's not really a sauce, it's a gel.
It's a gelatinous piece of
Yes. Can shaped stuff.
Look, you hit it on the head. He turned it upside down and said That's exactly how it sounds.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
awesome. But yeah, man. All right, so getting into our trash talking here, man.
Yeah.
Can you think of any similarities between the great Martin Luther King junior Jesus, and John F. Kennedy? Can you think of any? Like what? What comes to your mind if you?
Now it's kind of weird. I mean that you would pick two guys from the exact same era, and then one from a bygone era, thousands of years beforehand, 2,000 years beforehand. But yes, they were all looked to as civil rights leaders, right? Because there was oppression during both eras, and there's still oppression going on. There's been oppression since the beginning of history.
There was oppression when Jesus?
Yes, yeah, the Jews were ostracized,
Okay.
and he was a Jew. Much like Martin Luther King, he was one of the people who were being oppressed. Whereas JFK was not. He was an Irish guy who became president, but he fought for civil rights.
Okay.
Yeah, they were both looked to as iconic leaders to hopefully change the mind state of a time of a zeitgeist and hopefully lighten the load and free people from oppression.
Right.
Okay, but what's the big connection
Well,
here?
you actually kind of hit it on the head with the civil rights thing. My thing is, I noticed it to be a little weird that Jesus, John F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm sure there's other people, but let's just take those three. They might be the most polarizing.
Yeah.
All right. With these three people, they tried to bring up their people who were being oppressed, correct?
Yes.
When the higher ups, when the governments, when the people of power saw them bringing up disenfranchised people, all three of these people who tried to bring up disenfranchised people
Or martyrs.
were assassinated.
Yes.
That right there just kind of blows my mind. And
So could we throw Abraham Lincoln in there as well?
you could throw Abraham Lincoln in there. You definitely could. And I'm not trying to make this a white on black thing or a Jew on Christian thing. I'm not trying to do that. But JFK was for helping black people, helping them vote. He worked hand in hand with MLK, if I'm not mistaken. MLK was bringing people from all over the country to march to be able to vote, to have human civil rights as a white person. He says, one day I have a dream that black children and white children would be able to hold hands
And sing the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Now, with that being said, the higher ups living in the zeitgeist, as you like to say, at that particular point of time, they're like, you know what, life is good over here. My kid's in a great school with none of y'all. Or take it back to Jewish times. Hey, we're who was oppressing the Jews back then?
The my mind went blank when you said that. No, the Jewish were the Israelites, but the Palestinians.
So who was oppressing them?
I'm trying to think of what they were called back then.
I mean,
there's been the war between the Palestinians and the Jews for so many years.
Right. Did that go back to biblical times, though?
Yes, exactly. I mean, that war's been raging on for thousands of years.
So was it the Palestinians?
Yeah, but they weren't called Palestinians back then.
Something ites, wasn't it?
Well, there's the Israelites. Those were the Jewish.
No. While you're looking that up.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it's basically saying, hey, my kids are living great. My family's living great without you people coming up here. Or, hey, my group, my religion, my culture is living great without your religion meddling into over here. We're good. So we're going to take that one person of power who's trying to bring that oppressed people into our thriving, successful group of people and wipe them out. If you think about it, Jesus, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, and John F. Kennedy all tried to help oppressed people. And because they were trying to help people who were underprivileged, who were looked at in a totally different light, they were assassinated. You know?
Yeah.
And crazy thing just off topic here, but John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln, you know there's a bunch of similarities between them two, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, all the dates and the time periods all lined up. They both had the same number of the names. The killers had 3 names that killed them.
Abraham Lincoln was killed in Kennedy Theater.
Yes.
And John F. Kennedy was killed in
a Ford.
I thought it was a Lincoln.
A Lincoln, yeah, that's right.
Lincoln
Made by
car.
Ford.
Okay.
And the Ford Theater.
The Ford Theater, not
Yes.
Kennedy Theater. That's right.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of them, man. But no, what do you think about that, man? That people can be so... what's the word? People can be so... not even selfish, but just unwilling to look at human life as a life, to where you have a leader of a group and you assassinate them when you try to bring people up. What do you think of that, man?
I think it's progressivism.
You being a liberal, you'd be against that.
No, well, I'm not liberal, but
I mean, libertarian.
yes,
Same thing.
libertarian.
Man.
Yes. Well, as a libertarian, we believe that everyone should be treated equally, of course. And everyone should have the right to act however they want to act, as long as they're not harming anyone else. And oppression would definitely be harming someone else. But, you know, liberals in general are progressive, you know, and that's why you tend to see the Democratic Party who are mostly progressive, fighting for civil rights more so than the conservatives. But what was your question originally?
What did I tell you to bring up? I said, remember that. Bring that up when we get into trash.
Was it Abraham Lincoln?
No.
Fox.
Fox.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Explain. Guys out there, I don't know much about politics. Smokey knows somewhat. All right. You know how people say, oh, Fox News is bad news, or CNN or NBC, those are bad news. Like, one's left, one's right.
Yeah.
What is Fox? Is Fox left or right?
Fox is right.
What's CNN?
Left.
What's NBC?
Left.
What's ABC?
I think they're neutral.
Okay, so how do you know that? Like, how do you...
Well, if you were to watch Fox News, the Fox News channel, now not the Fox affiliates like you would have Fox 5 in Atlanta, they tend to be just reporting news.
Local news.
Yes. They usually don't take slants on the news. They don't take one side or the other. But if you were to watch the actual Fox News channel, they're going to pick a side, and they're going to pick the Republican side.
Why?
Because that's just how they believe, and we've been taught in America that it's either left or right. You need to pick a side and get on it, you know.
But who was the first person to come up and say, okay, Fox is left? You said Fox is left, right?
Well, I think it goes down to the ownership and the higher ups there, what they believe.
Left is what?
Democrats are left.
Democrats are left?
Yeah. So are socialists and communists.
So Republicans are right.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the channel that's Republican?
Fox.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something that I remember seeing when Hillary and Trump were going against each other.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the right one? Fox, right? I remember vividly in our old house, me and my mom, we were watching when the presidential elect was happening, right? I remember turning to Fox and it showed Trump being ahead in the polls, and then going to another station like NBC.
And then show Hillary.
Hillary being
because they try to slant the news.
But why?
Because there is a undecided, a middle ground of people who don't follow politics. Those are the votes they need, because for the most part, you got one side, and there's a certain amount of people, and the left side there's a certain amount of people, and they usually equal each other out. So the only way they win elections and things like that is to convince people in the middle to pick their side. And they both do it through fear-based, like the left will say, you better vote for the Democratic candidate. I know you're not a Democrat, but you better vote for them because they're going to take away your Social Security, or they're going to take away your benefits,
Right.
The other side will do the same thing then.
So you told me back in the day, nowadays the majority of black people are Democrats. Would you say that?
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, black people were
A Republican. Martin Luther King was a Republican.
Oh my God! You took the crap word out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
JFK was what?
Democrat. Because he was there. It was actually between JFK.
You see where I'm going here?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is how the switch happened. Is because after JFK's death, JFK was actually voted in as a Democrat, but he was for civil rights. He was actually his thoughts, or what's the word I'm looking for?
His
views were actually different than the majority of Democrats at that time. Because he actually, once he got elected, he came out and spoke out against secret organizations and oppressions and things like that, which ultimately probably got him killed.
Wait, so you said he was a Democrat, JFK?
Yes.
But he had Republican views?
Well, Republican views of that time. Because Republican views at that time, before the big switch, was... Abraham Lincoln, the party of Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln was what?
A Republican.
This is so weird, man.
It is. It was a big switch, and it all happened around the 60s. Lyndon B. Johnson, who took over after the death of JFK, was actually quoted, and I'm not going to use the exact quote, but he was quoted saying...
You're paraphrasing.
Yes. That we're going to have every N-word voting Democrat by the end of this term.
A president said that?
Yes.
I don't believe it.
Yes, that's how they were viewing that if we want to keep the Democrats in power, these black people are now getting the right to vote. So with black people earning the right to vote, because this is the end of the Jim Jones laws.
Jim Jones?
Yeah, they were
or
free.
Jim Crow?
Jim Crow, I'm sorry.
This fool said Jim Jones.
Yes, the preacher that took all the
oh
cult
my
leader.
God.
Jim Crow. But this was the end of the Jim Crow laws, and Martin Luther King was fighting for this, right? You stuck on the wrong thing
my
here.
bad. Go ahead.
But they still didn't have the right to vote in a lot of states. They were free at that time, but they still didn't have all the rights, and that was the whole civil rights movement. So they were seeing that, the Democrats were seeing that if we're the first to jump on this train and get the black people on our side, we're going to win all the elections.
And JFK was a Democrat.
Yes.
So you think...
Only not by his views at that time after he became president.
So his views at that time were Republican views.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could consider that. I think it was more of independent views, really, but...
But why did he run as a Democrat if those were Republican views?
I think that was his family history, and it was probably the best platform he could use to get elected. I mean, just like now, if you want to be an independent, if you want to be elected, you're going to have to pick a side, because you're probably not getting elected without picking a side.
Okay, that's another question I want to ask you. Can someone run for president if they're not they don't have any political ties? If they're not Democratic, Republican, liberal, libertarian?
Anybody can run for president. You can run for president. Anyone can.
Killer Mike for president 2020.
That would be amazing.
That would be great.
And he wouldn't be a Democrat or a Republican, and that's what make.
He said he was a libertarian.
Yeah, well, I mean, did he actually say he was a libertarian? Because
He
I
said-
just thought he was independent.
I think he says he leans more towards the libertarian.
I mean, that makes sense.
ideal.
If you listen to him talk, he sounds like a libertarian.
Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all, but one of the greatest lines he said is he was talking to black people, and he was saying, y'all keep saying we being oppressed and y'all can't get this, y'all can't do that. He was like, it's you. He was like, you've been free for about 50 years now. Now, nigga, act like it.
Exactly.
That was epic, dude.
Yeah.
That was epic.
He's so brilliant.
Yeah, man. So
One of the smartest people in Atlanta is Killer
hands
Mike.
down,
Yes.
hands down. So Jesus, would you, if Jesus were to run for president, what do you think? What would he be?
I would think independent. I mean, judging by what people said that he would say, and you would think independent. You wouldn't think he would pick a side because each side has.
Wait a minute. Okay, go ahead.
Each side, each party on either side have these rules that actually oppress the other side.
Okay, I
So,
disagree.
Why?
I think he would be Republican.
Why?
The Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal." They're against abortion.
But Jesus didn't. He didn't have the Bible. He didn't use the Bible
No,
to
but
preach.
the Bible was wrote through his father's words, and the Republicans tend to lean on the Bible.
But then we're arguing semantics now to where, did these people actually talk to God, or whatever.
Well,
let's just take it at face value. If Jesus was the man, let's not bring the Bible into it, because the Christians the Republicans love to say they're Christians, which no one believes Donald Trump's actually a Christian.
Really? People don't believe that?
You know anyone that does?
I mean,
Maybe the simple-minded people who never really look into politics, but I mean, Donald Trump's been on record saying he was an atheist plenty times.
are you kidding me?
Yeah, back in the past, yeah.
Seriously?
He was a Democrat most of his life.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you didn't know this?
No.
He contributed to Hillary's campaign the first time.
Shut up.
Yes.
Are you crapping me?
No. This is public record.
Wow.
Donald Trump was a Democrat
This
most of his life.
dude is incredible. I'm
He
sorry.
is. He's an enigma, for
This
sure.
guy is absolutely out there, man.
He just picked the side that he felt like he could get elected with. And he started pushing for his campaign long before he actually got into the race in 2016.
Yeah.
No, what? Yeah,
It was
wasn't it 2016? Yeah.
So, you really think Jesus would? Okay.
I think he would have been independent if he really.
Let's-
But I don't think so because he actually spoke out against governments.
Yeah, he
during
tried
his
to
time.
overthrow. Well, yeah, but at the same token, you said he spoke against governments, but
he did say, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's," and people interpret that as you have to pay taxes according to Jesus,
which is a Republican thing.
yeah.
So I think he would be Republican. Going off of if you are gay, that you are stoned. You
No,
go.
he didn't believe that though. He actually saved people from being stoned during those times when they were being persecuted.
Maybe I have the interpretation of him all wrong.
I mean, he would hang out with prostitutes and criminals.
Oh, wow.
And try to teach them the right way.
Dang,
he
dude.
never actually was on record that I've ever read about him actually agreeing to someone being persecuted. Yeah. Wasn't Mary Magdalene a prostitute?
Prostitute, man. This is deep here.
Yeah.
Wow. So, damn, Donald Trump. That blew my mind when you said that.
Yeah, Donald Trump's an enigma for sure. And the conservatives, the Republicans follow him because he's the figurehead that's in charge right now, but they didn't want him at first. They didn't accept him at first,
The Republican Party.
Yeah, it's just he grew steam over time thanks to the a-hole culture who saw him as some kind of leader for the people who were really pissed off at society and needed a figurehead to voice that opinion to society.
The Republicans.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of the people that voted for him were not card-carrying Republicans. They were just normal people who hated progression and thought that what he was saying fit, their
The
feelings.
narrative.
Yes.
Wow. What about Gandhi? Was he assassinated?
Mm-mm.
Was he murdered or killed?
No, I think he lived a full life.
Because I know he was against some things.
Yeah, he was a Jesus figure at that. Wasn't assassinated, though.
Damn, dude, we could go really deep on this, man.
Yeah. You could look into, like, the Archduke Ferdinand. He was assassinated. That actually started World War I. But I don't know too much about his views.
All right, let's say Hitler ran for president. What would he be?
He did.
Of the
He was
United States of America.
He ran for the president of Germany, and he was a socialist.
All right, but I don't know socialist, independent, liberal, libertarian. Give me red or white. Is red or blue? Is it Democrat or Republican? What would he? What are his?
If he had to pick one of the two parties now that he was running for, it would be Democrat.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was far more left than the Democrats.
So left is what? Democrat.
Yes.
Okay. Now you said Hitler would run towards Democrat, right?
Yes, because the left, if you want to break it down to a very basic understanding, the left is for using government to control people.
And the right believes in governing themselves?
Yeah, well, they say that, but they also use the government to control people, but they use it only in pushing their views. I mean,
all right. So you said Jesus would have been an independent. Take independent, take liberal. If Jesus had to pick Republican or Democrat, what would you think he'd be?
I don't know. That's hard to say because he didn't fit either side.
I'm thinking more Republican, man.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say he would be a Democrat considering a great majority of Democrats are atheists.
Let's look at it like
they don't believe that he ever existed.
All right, let's look at it like this. God gave man the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say God was a real physical person and God was running to be a president.
Mm-hmm.
Democrat or Republican? God.
I don't think he could pick either side because he would be all things.
But looking at the 10 Commandments, isn't the 10 Commandments basically Republican? Going off of Old Testament, New Testament.
No, because Republicans believe it's okay to kill people as long as it's in the name of the government.
What?
Yeah. War. Republicans love war. We know that. Kill them all.
Kill them all. Wow.
Osama bin Laden. I mean,
yeah,
I have a hard time believing Jesus would have been standing on a soapbox screaming, "We have to go kill that Arab son."
Yeah, but don't Democrats do that?
No, they were completely against that war.
No.
But no, they will. Yeah, they will use.
That's what I'm saying. Let's say, all right, during Osama bin Laden, George Bush was president, right?
Yeah.
He was a Republican.
Yeah.
If a Democrat, let's say Obama was in office when 9/11 happened, you don't think Obama would have made the same decision?
Oh, he did. When he was in office, he made more military strikes than Bush did.
Right,
yes.
and he brought down Obama.
Yeah, Obama.
He
brought down himself.
Obama brought down. Yeah, he brought down Osama, and I don't think we had anything to do with it.
And Saddam.
Gaddafi, we didn't have anything to do with that, did we?
No, but they like to take credit for it. But, yeah.
But he was a Democrat, but isn't that Republican type things?
Yes, it is very much.
This is so confusing to me.
It is.
Why can't we just do good? Do good, get good. Why can't we all just get along?
Because it's indoctrination, man.
You know something else before we get off of this, man. Okay, me being half black, and the black community, you may not understand where I'm coming from, but
I don't know the black community, huh?
No, but you don't. Okay, and I necessarily don't because I'm not fully black. But in the black community, they look at it like, how can we, not take over, but how can we be looked at? I can't even say like not equal, but what can we do to grow as a people? The majority, you know who Candace Owens is?
Yes.
Like she is Trump all the way. Majority of black people don't support Trump. Now, just speaking hypothetically here, black people tend to vote what? Democrat, right? Could that be what's wrong with the narrative that we are seeing in the black community? Is that we have been voting Democrat forever?
Isn't that what Killer Mike says?
Right. So because we have been voting Democrat forever, and obviously it hasn't been working, so let's just try something different one time. Let's
try something new.
Let's just see what happens. Let's give it 4 years.
Why can't the white people who are not racist try something new?
Imagine if all white people voted Democrat.
Imagine if all the white people and the black people decided we're not going to serve these two masters anymore. We're going to meet in the middle and actually get something good started.
From the great words of Killer Mike.
Exactly.
Kill your masters.
Exactly.
He was like, at the end of the day, we just arguing who got the best master.
Exactly.
Kill your masters.
That's exactly what should happen.
If this episode ain't getting
And then, you know, he
demonetized-
wasn't specifically saying we need to go out with guns and
No,
kill the
no,
government,
no.
but he's saying we need to fire them because, all in all, they do still work for us.
Right.
If we could just fire both sides and get rid of them and start a new, meet in the middle, start a new government that's good for everyone.
Call it peopleism.
Exactly, anything. It doesn't have to be libertarian. It doesn't have to be a Green Party. It doesn't have to be independent. It's just something different because what we've been doing has not been working.
Yeah. I mean, it's a divide. You got either you're this side or you're this side.
And there's a reason for that. Because a people divided are easier to control.
Well, they say if you know a person's fear, they're easier
Exactly.
to control. What do you mean exactly? What's the...
That's how you control the people. Because you get them on one side or another and make them scared of the other side. That's exactly what happens.
Who is they? Who were they trying to control? Who was the they?
The government controls the people.
Okay, so
They is the government.
The government control... All right. Nation law controls region law. Region law controls state law. State law controls local law.
There's not necessarily a regional law,
I mean, you know what I mean.
But yeah, the Fed controls the states.
The state controls
Yes.
the local and city.
we originally had states to begin with to keep this from happening, to keep one federal localized government from controlling the entire thing. That way, if you didn't agree with the laws of a certain state, you could just move to a different state to where you agreed with the laws. That's how it was originally set up, and that made a lot of sense, right?
Of course. Did you did I hear correctly? You said Martin Luther King was a Republican?
Yes. And the KKK was formed from the Democratic Party.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No.
Who formed the KKK?
What was that guy's name? Forrest
Griffith.
His name was something Forrest. Yeah.
Whitaker.
Hold on, I'll tell you exactly.
Man, maybe you just kind of opened my mind up to something totally different here, man. If MLK, all right, so was the majority of black people back then, were they Democrat or Republican?
What was that now?
I mean, I don't really care about the leader who formed the KKK.
Hold on, I'll tell you
go
that.
ahead, give it to me. Who is it?
Uh,
I be trying to get stuff out quick so I don't lose my train of thought.
This one has a whole list of founders. James Crow, Jim Crow laws. That was the Jim Crow laws, by the way.
That came
Calvin
from that.
Jones, yeah. John C. Lester, John B. Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
All right, wait. All right. I'm sorry. You done?
It was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee, but it was founded from
I thought
the
it was founded
Democratic
in
Party.
Stone Mountain, Georgia.
No, they had meetings in Stone Mountain.
Oh.
It wasn't founded in Stone Mountain. It was founded in Tennessee, but
All right,
yeah.
so-
Nathan Bedford Forrest, that was his name.
Okay, that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Martin Luther King was a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
This was during the 60s.
Yes.
Was the predominant political party of black people during the 60s, was it Republican or
Yes.
Democrat? It was Republican?
Yes.
So if
I mean, most of them, you got to understand, though, most black people were not educated at this time.
Mm-hmm.
There was only a few handful that stood out above the crowd that were educated.
you know why that is?
I mean, because of suppression.
Right. Well, you can't take away education. You can take away my clothes. You can take away my money.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know something, you can't take that away from me.
Yeah, so if you let them know stuff, then it becomes harder to control people.
So when did the black population become more towards Democratic? If we were Republican during the 60s, when we
Through the campaigns of Kennedy and following,
but Kennedy supported the black movement.
he did. And that drew a lot of people into the Democratic Party. And then after that, when the vice president took over after the Kennedy assassination,
Lyndon B. Johnson.
yes, he he wasn't necessarily on board with the views of Kennedy, but he saw that that was how you gain power.
Right.
Because we need the votes of the black community now. So we can put on this facade and make black people fall in love with this side. So the parties switched.
Right.
And by the time you got down to Richard Nixon,
which was a
it was
Republican.
completely opposite. Richard Nixon was a severe racist, and he was.
So
a
was Jimmy
Republican.
Carter, I heard.
Jimmy Carter, from what I heard, is the opposite. Why would,
maybe I'm thinking something totally different.
I mean, he was from Georgia.
Giles?
I mean, he was a Democrat. So
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Jimmy Carter was a Democrat.
What was George Washington?
I don't. What was his party? It wasn't Republican or Democrat.
Was that even around back then?
No, they had like the Whig Party. There was a bunch of parties in the beginning.
And he technically wasn't even the first president, but I don't know, man. I got so many questions about this thing. But
hold on. It was called the Democratic Republican Party.
yeah, so he was both of them.
It was before they split, yeah. I thought there was a different name for it at that time, but apparently they just called it the Democratic Republican Party. Because you had a republic that you wanted to be ran democratically.
Right. But as the United States, we're called a democracy.
Yes.
Democrat.
Yeah, you had a democracy
Right.
that you wanted, or a republic that you wanted to be ran democratically.
What?
Because
that doesn't even make sense.
This is not a democracy. This is a republic by founding name. I mean, that's why when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, they say to the republic for which it stands. They don't say to the democracy for which it stands.
But America is ran through a democracy.
It's supposed to be, which is not really.
God, what the hell, dude?
They call it a democracy, but it's not.
All right, so back to Jesus, and we're gonna close it out here soon.
Yes.
But
It's confusing.
I mean, I'm so confused, man. But you think? I wonder if JFK and MLK. I wonder if they were cool. Like, I wonder if they actually had a conversation together.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Do you think that had anything to do with his?
I'm pretty sure they had quite a few meetings.
You think that had anything to do with his assassination?
Oh, yeah, because you see the white people that didn't want to give blacks any control are going to see this leader cohorting with the black leaders off him.
Now let's bring that full circle. You know what presidential candidate just tried to run and hung out with MLK, marched with MLK recently?
Oh, say that again?
What presidential candidate marched with MLK that ran recently? He didn't win.
A presidential
candidate that ran
marched
with MLK. Bernie Sanders. He was for the civil rights movement.
Oh, really?
You know
I mean,
that.
I knew he was for the civil rights movement. I didn't know he actually was old enough to march.
But could that be
MLK.
part of?
I guess he is. He's pretty old.
Yeah, heck yeah. Could that be part of the conspiracy? They killed JFK because he was helping oppress people.
Yeah.
They killed MLK.
Well, not that he was helping oppress people. He was, helping oppressed people.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was helping to oppress people.
No, man. MLK. They killed him because he was helping oppressed people.
Yes.
All right. Bernie Sanders was with MLK during the civil rights leading.
Yeah.
You think we gonna give him the job? We got rid of two of them other people. Why we gonna give it to you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think nowadays it's probably a little easier because you have more open-minded people. And, there's a ton of white people out there these days.
You think we got more open-minded people these days than we got more narrow-minded people?
I don't know.
Social media is all I gotta say.
Yeah, you can look at social media and see closed-minded people all day.
All day.
Which is why social media will be the downfall of society.
Yeah, anything else you got for this topic, Smoke?
No, we're not telling you what to believe. You believe what you want to believe.
Yes, sir. With that being said, guys, do your own research. And we thought this was an interesting topic and wanted to get it out there for you guys.
As confusing as it all is, and as messed up as we may be, I think one day we could figure it out. Either that or we're just going to end up offing ourselves eventually.
With that being said, guys, my name is Behringer Hollywood 6. Bye.
I am Larry Smokey Ramirez Cowan.
And we are Over and out.
Booze out. Bees out. Booyah. Deuces.